Great balls of motherfucking fire, y'all. Yesterday, Thursday, January 25th, Clayton's lawyers put in yet another filing. And I find this one even more interesting than the one that was shared on the 19th of January. Basically, this is the document of the reply to petitioner's response to motion for sanctions pursuant to Rule 26. And here you will see that petitioner continues to cause respondent to incur unnecessary attorney's fees and costs delaying discovery. Discovery, for those who aren't aware of, is basically like investigatory probes for evidence, basically, and discovery is what is used in a trial or in a court setting as evidence, and they ultimately become things like exhibits. The very crux of this frivolous litigation is easily resolved by petitioner disclosing non-confidential and uncontroversial evidence of her claimed quote-unquote miscarriage. Side note, but I am reading the petty use of both quotes and italics. Usually it's one or the other, but he did both. And in professional speak, I know he's throwing a little bit of a shade, as well as the statutorily required fetal death certificate affirming the same. That petitioner continues to refuse to provide this easily obtainable evidence after she invoked Rule 2 begs the question that this entire pregnancy narrative was nothing more than a fraudulent ruse to coerce respondent into dating petitioner. He's calling it like he sees it, motherfuckers. I love to see it. To the extent applicable, respondent incorporates all his pending filings. As and for his reply, respondent states as follows. 1. The requirements of Rule 9C have been met and or were impossible to meet due to petitioner's refusal to acknowledge respondent could not have made her pregnant, as fully detailed in respondent's response/objection to petitioner's motion to dismiss petition to establish paternity, legal decision-making, parenting time, and child support with prejudice, filed January 3rd, respondent clearly informed petitioner in writing that she could not be pregnant by him as they only had oral sex. Respondent even offered to meet in person with petitioner, with witnesses present in light of her concerning behavior, to discuss these rudimentary facts. Petitioner refused to meet with him if he did not agree to her bizarre request to date and quote-unquote explore intimacy with her. Petitioner bringing this entire action knowing that she was not and could not be pregnant by respondent is the conduct that violates Rule 26B. That petitioner is now claiming that she was somehow not given notice of her sanctionable conduct is patently absurd. As conveyed to her directly by respondent, through respondent's granted injunction against harassment, through 3 paternity tests, and through counsel, petitioner's filing was based on fiction. This is not an instance where petitioner may have mistakenly alleged something that needed to be corrected through an amended filing. This is a uniquely disturbing case where petitioner expended judicial resources to fabricate a pregnancy narrative to force respondent into a relationship with her, invited media attention, and is now desperately grasping at procedural straws to evade providing simple and uncontroversial disclosure like a government certificate confirming the alleged miscarriage. 2. All of petitioner's filings arguably violate Rule 26B. Petitioner's underlying petition to establish was filed without merit and for the sole purpose of coercing respondent into dating petitioner, as petitioner was not and could not have been pregnant by respondent after oral sex. Without belaboring the point, every single filing in this action sent by petitioner has been presented for an improper purpose, such as to harass, cause unnecessary delay, or needlessly increase the cost of litigation. Includes claims that are frivolous and unwarranted by existing law, is entirely lacking in evidentiary support, and contains factual contentions that are unwarranted based on the evidence. As has been the crux of respondent's filings, petitioner could not have been pregnant by respondent as they did not have sexual intercourse, and she has provided no verifiable medical evidence to support her claims, ostensibly because none exists. Notably, petitioner again reasserts in her unverified response that she was pregnant with quote-unquote twins, despite providing no evidence to support this claim, other than a sonogram stolen from a 7-year-old YouTube video and positive HCG tests, which are discussed below. This is really great because he's going to start digging into what we've really been talking about for a long time, which is that there are ways to manipulate those HCG tests. I find this document so intriguing because he's really going in. We're getting a little bit more information about this entire scandal, and we're getting even more information because he has provided more exhibits that are showing things that Laura directly communicated to Clayton. So it's giving us more information on the story she crafted, and he's really laying it out in such a comprehensive and understandable way. I really think that if, there's legal standings for this, there's no way that the judge can be anything but compelled by what Mr. Woodnick is doing here. It seems as though he is doing figure skating in law shadily, and I am entertained and intrigued and learning a whole lot. Put simply, petitioner's filings are predicated on bad faith and contain allegations that cannot be supported by verifiable medical evidence that complies with Rule 2. That petitioner now claims she has quote-unquote witnesses to support her claims that she allegedly feared coming forward is illogical and irrelevant. To me, he's saying that with a side eye. Really, girl? All petitioner needs to do is sign basic HIPAA forms to allow respondent to obtain her medical records and sign the form provided by respondent to permit Arizona Vital Records to release a fetal death certificate to confirm twin fetuses miscarried. Petitioner's refusal to follow basic procedural rules for the litigation she initiated is the sole reason this litigation continues. Petitioner cannot now claim that discovery is quote-unquote ongoing while simultaneously failing to comply with any discovery, including a willful failure to appear at a properly noticed deposition. Sanctions consistent with Rule 26C are clearly warranted and necessary. 3. This one is the shadiest of them all. Petitioner wanting to be pregnant and being pregnant are two different things. Lord, do we know that to be true? Despite her repeated assertions, positive HCG tests are not verifiable medical evidence of pregnancy. Parenthetically, per the Office on Women's Health, a blood test which petitioner ostensibly never underwent, unless she has evidence that would provide otherwise, but I question that, is the best way for a doctor to confirm pregnancy. Causes other than pregnancy can trigger false positives for HCG, including fertility treatments and various medications, especially those associated with epilepsy and infertility. Moreover, according to the American Pregnancy Association, the presence of HCG is only a sign of pregnancy. Ultimately, that petitioner was ostensibly able to produce a positive urine HCG test is not conclusive because, to date, petitioner has provided no Rule 49 disclosure to support her claims that she was pregnant by respondent, pregnant with twins, pregnant at 24 weeks on November 2nd, 2023, pregnant with a boy and a girl. This is what I'm saying. We learn new information. We're learning that she told him that it was a boy and a girl. Due on February 14, 2024, being treated for a high-risk pregnancy by Dr. McCool and Dr. Higley, or that she ultimately had a miscarriage. Petitioner's HCG tests prove nothing, and her reliance on them when she could provide simple and basic evidence to dissolve the claim that she wrongfully filed this action begs many questions about her credibility and motivations. 4. Petitioner's behavior in this litigation is unreasonable and predicated on bad faith such that respondent should be entitled to his reasonable attorney's fees and costs. Petitioner's baseless allegations that respondent is using the court as a publicity stunt and that he is leaking information serve no purpose other than to deflect from her own culpable actions. And there we have it again, just said with his chest what's really going the fuck on here. This is actually a tactic called Darvo, if you're familiar. It's deny, accuse, reverse the victim, and whatever. Basically, you claim what you did is what your victim is doing, and you've reversed the victim, so now you're the victim. I see it here. I see it in her Reddit post where she was like, oh, he was insanely high. And then when someone raises the question of if he was even able to properly consent, she's like, well, he gave me the gummy, so how could I have properly consented? And it's like, girl, shut up, because that was not part of your story. Don't you try to co-opt it now and try to co-opt that you are the victim. I'm just saying. Again, as always with my videos, these are opinions, it's alleged, it's about current events and of public figures, but does that not read the same way to anyone else? Or am I all alone here? And if I'm all alone, I'll put my foot in my mouth, I'll eat my words. As detailed extensively in respondent's response/objection to petitioner's motion for confidentiality and preliminary protective order filed January 19th, petitioner initiated this action, reached out to the media, publicly shared a Dropbox of her personal medical information, and continues to harass/sue media personalities who do not share her side of the story. Respondent has had to come forward to respond to petitioner's public claims to protect his image and reputation and to rectify the damage she has done. Rather than comply with simple discovery requests or provide even an iota of Rule 49 disclosure, willfully ignore deposition notices, continue to file meritless motions, and force respondent back into court. Respondent has had to rely on community support to defend himself against petitioner's meritless claims and to prevent her from making another TEDx talk to claim that she was somehow cyberbullied into a miscarriage. Respondent continues to incur significant attorney's fees and costs because petitioner's unreasonable conduct. As such, he should be awarded his reasonable costs and fees in having to file this reply. And here, I think it's really interesting because we know in her second Medium article, she mentions, I know one day I will speak and advocate on cyber harassment and cyberbullying and internet harassment. I wonder if she threatened, if there was any threat for like a TEDx talk explicitly, if he's just filling in the blanks and having a little bit of fun here, or, you know, just kind of dragging her. 5. The entire action by petitioner is predicated on fraud upon the court. Period. Fraud and vengefulness. Petitioner continues to seek out media attention and exhaust all her procedural remedies to evade basic discovery and disclosure obligations. Perhaps if petitioner provided the statutorily required fetal death certificate and verifiable medical records to support that she was ever pregnant with twins, she would look less like, as stated by a petitioner's attorney, a crazed woman who has fabricated a pregnancy. Oh my god. Mic fucking dropped, dude. Oh my god. I'm sitting here like gagged, gooped, gathered. 100%. Wow. Fucking wow. So now we have the text messages, and these are super fucking enlightening, you guys. This is from Laura to Clayton, and what's killing me is it looks like he might have her photo in his phone of the... Is that the ultrasound? I don't know. I can't tell. Maybe it's a different photo, like, of her. I can't tell. It's in black and white, so of course automatically it kind of looks like an ultrasound to me, but it might not be. But could you imagine if he had her in his phone as a fake ultrasound? Oh god, and here she goes again. Here she goes again with her famous phrase. I have one final thing to say that I think you might find important and have nothing to lose by sharing it with you. I have been in a dark place, as I said yesterday, and emotionally tortured. The drama. Since we hooked up, because I felt like I didn't know how to bring this up to you, but at this point I might as well. I have not been on birth control since what happened to me about 15 months ago. And so that tells me that she has shared the story where she was allegedly raped and left for dead, which she alleged in court documents via email. She thought that Greg Gillespie and his lawyer, I believe, ordered her to be raped by someone. Like, instead of murder for hire, it was sexual assault for hire. Now, I obviously can't speak on whether or not this happened. I just think that with what she says, she must have very bad luck and worse and anyone else, in the fact that apparently every man she ever comes across makes her a victim. And I'm saying this all alleged, but in my opinion, I don't believe it. I'm not saying I don't believe the potential rape situation, but I'm saying I don't believe that every man she's come across has made her a victim, if you didn't catch it. Which is strange to me that she shared such like personal information on like day one. It makes me wonder and wish to be a fly on the wall for that first date, or to know like what she said to him in person ever. There hasn't been a reason, since, as I said, I hadn't done anything with anyone since then. So she was talking about sex with him, obviously, in some capacity. Being sexually responsible was not on my radar after taking the gummy and our clothes coming off. When I went to the bathroom afterwards, some of your fluids were down there. And here we see that telltale sign of Laura writing something where she leaves the punctuation at the end of a sentence outside of the quotation marks, which is incorrect format. In all honesty, I was planning to take Plan B when I got home, but then when you said you were going to church, I realized you had a strong faith base as well, and questioned whether or not it was a sign that I should. The other day, when we were going through her emails and she was bringing up God, remember when I was like, I'm not sure if this is sincere, if she's a very religious person, or if she's using this as a way to manipulate Clayton. And when I just did a precursory glance over this document, I only looked at the first page and then the first exhibit, which is this text. This popped out to me like fucking neon lights, y'all. It is bright as day. Let me allege something and paint a picture that I instantly was like, my intuition was like, whoa. She keyed in on him saying the church thing. So instantly she's gaining a piece of information, she's using that, and then she's like, how can I use the information that he has shared with me to craft myself into either the most desirable woman for him, or to manipulate his reality. I thought that was it gave me that feeling of like a rock in the gut of my stomach, because retroactively we can look back, and that is the making of someone who is not acting in good faith, who is preying upon certain aspects of a person's personality to try to get what they want. And that's just my perspective from my lived experience, and I could very well be wrong, but my blood ran cold because I saw the dirtiness in that line. Then, after we talked in the car, I felt even more so like both of us had a deep belief in God, and like it was a sign I should not leave it up as a sign I should leave it up to him and not buy it. And so I find this again very interesting, because here Laura contradicts a lot of her logic later on. She apparently said, I'm not gonna let God anything intervene with God, and I'm not gonna get a plan B. But then she's like, I've always wanted to be a mother. If you don't date me, I'm gonna have these babies, but I left it up to God, but now I'm not gonna leave it up to God. Like scratching my forehead. I won't leave it up to God if I leave it up to you, baby. If you date me, baby. Is that like what she's getting at? So confusing. Like, there's so many points here where she catches herself, and I feel like it is what reveals her true motivation. She doesn't realize it, because I think she's too far deep in her delusion or her motivations. But anyone who's wise to this stuff, and I'm not knocking Clayton for not being wise to it, because if you haven't dealt with it before, you're not going to sniff it out, and that's because you're probably a normal person who's had the pleasure to not interact with folks that uses these type of tactics before. But wow, I see it just plain as day. Obviously, my mind has ping-ponged about this since then, and you were empathetic about me not bringing up anything that wasn't professional or friend-like, of which the situation is neither. I desperately wanted to figure out how to bring it up to you, and thought that if we could just get together and talk openly, we could. But you didn't want that until a deal closed, which would be too late to take it. So, this is me and my interjection, my questioning here. I'm reading this here as, she was thinking of taking the plan B, that she says, I'm going to let God, it'd be up to God. And then she's saying, it seems like she was like, I was going to wait to take the plan B until we met again. So she's leaving this door open to meet with him again, or using it as something to encourage a meeting, and then to make a decision, a consequential decision, only after they meet again. Do you see how she's trying to construct a reality here? how she's trying to force the situation into a certain direction. It's really, really sinister. Sinister is the best word I can think of. Because I'm also seeing, she's saying that he said he didn't want to meet up until they could close a deal. So is that him maybe potentially setting a boundary and her not liking that and then being like, well, if we wait for the deal, guess I really am going to have to leave it up to God. If you are like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I wanted to ask you how you felt about me taking it from a religious standpoint, but we didn't get a chance to. Clearly, I was factoring in things that you weren't that made me panic and led to a total breakdown in communication. Like, why is she making this accusatory in this moment? Like, why does she have to have a dig at him? Like, what are you talking about, Laura? My podcast had a fertility test kit as a sponsor, and so yes, I know I am fertile. Oh my fucking god, are you kidding me, dude? A fertility testing company that is probably not FDA approved, like, paid me, and so, like, I got good results because they sponsored me on my Totally Famous Top Podcast 2018. And they said I am super extracalifragilisticexpialidociously fertile, sir. And that is why I have had 2 other miracle pregnancies and at least one of them being also twins. Allegedly conspiracy because of my amazing sponsor of my huge podcast. Please date me. Oh my god! You can't make this shit up. At this point, from my overwhelming research, move over, folks. She's an overwhelming researcher over here. She's better researchers than all you other motherfuckers at the CDC and RAND Corporation and fucking biotech companies, oncology centers. You don't know shit. She's doing overwhelming research over here. At this point, from my overwhelming research on Plan B since Sunday, ooh, all that research is very overwhelming, and she's only been doing it since Sunday. Genius. It's Friday, y'all. I'm having fun. It's most effective 3 days after, but can still work 5 days out, meaning this is the last day I could take it and have a hope of it working if it needs to. If you have any thoughts about this, I'm open to hearing you out if and only if you are kind and respectful. This has been extremely stressful on me. And here again we go with the threat. If I don't hear back from you, how many fucking times have I read that exact goddamn phrase from this woman? Countless times, it feels like. I mean, there's obviously a number we can put to it, but in almost every goddamn instance of her communicating with him, there is, if I don't hear from you, this is the last time. Does that not sound like an angry mother in a grocery store with 4 out-of-control kids? And again, I ask the question, who does she think she is? Speaking to a grown man like this as a grown 33-year-old woman who has no ties, connections, or influence over this man's life, despite her wanting all of that. Disgusting. If I don't hear back from you, I'm not going to take Plan B. A threat. Point blank, period. That's a fucking threat. You're obviously free to think that I'm full of shit, but I'm not. I'll take it as a sign that you don't care what happens either way and will just allow God's will, whatever that is, to be the determining factor. If I do test positive in a few weeks, though, there is a 0% chance of it being anyone's but yours. I'd take any test to prove it. And at that point, any input from you won't matter, she says. So she says, this is my last time talking to you. If I don't hear from you on taking Plan B, I could be pregnant, and it will only be yours. She's teeing everything up, folks. She is setting the fucking scene. I'm assuming this is after her immediate rejection from him, because she tests a few days earlier than what you should actually test and get a positive pregnancy test, even on an early response. It's so interesting. You see her concocting the situation and pulling those strings. He responds, take the Plan B. I support that. She responds, you have been really dismissive of my thoughts and feelings, and it's a bigger thing for me to think about now than it was when this originally happened. After all, I do want to have kids. I'm not basing what I'm doing off a 2-sentence response. Well, girl! You asked for his fucking response. If I don't hear back from you, you just heard back from him. The response was take the Plan B. Here she's saying you can't win. Actually, I am never giving you the power to have any say in this. And that is why I'm going back to the whole consent situation, because Where was Clayton's power in a lot of this? How much was it manipulated? How much was it abused? For fuck's sake. And only one meeting. This is how people can get their claws in you. And when they have ulterior motives, they are set on creating something and they'll make it happen. And for people who are not pathological of some kind, in my opinion, in my worthless fucking opinion, but it's still my opinion, you don't act like that. And you don't see it because you're normal. And it's so fucking disgusting. It's sick. It makes my skin crawl. It puts my hair up on the back of my neck to see this happen. And then to see the show put on to try to be the victim at the end of it all. This is the epitome of Darvo. It's the fucking epitome of Darvo. It's the fucking epitome of gaslighting. Oh my God. And so those first string of responses were at 10 a.m. on May 25th. So this is 5 days after she gave him a blowjob that surprisingly somehow splashed down to her naked hoo-ha. She says at 5:12 p.m., about 7 hours later, "Let me tell you how serious I am about all of this since you think it was a plot to hold on to you. If you were to tell me that we could date if I admitted to making it up as you called it before, I would tell you no can do. None of this is made up and I am genuinely panicked. I cannot be more serious about this. Please be there for me. Thank you." And here's where I have to say, Laura, this is heartbreaking, but it's something everyone has to realize in their life. But like, no one owes you anything. Even the people closest to you in your life, like technically your spouse, your children, your parents, technically they don't owe you shit. Even if it hurts you, what if it's better for them? You know what I mean? People don't owe you anything. So Clayton never owed you a response. He never owed you support. Whether or not this was true, we already know my feelings on that, but I'm just saying. No one owes you shit. Swallow that pill. His response is, "I'm debating filing a police report. Please leave me alone." She replies, menacingly in my opinion. And to me, these if-then statements from her are veiled threats at best. Not just my dumb opinion. If you file a police report because A, I'm trying to figure out about plan B tonight, and B, I'm trying to figure out the status of my offers I made last night and you won't even tell me if they are active or not, I will file a report with the AAR, which I am absolutely entitled to do, but I don't want to. So here she's threatening to take this out on him, on his career. How low can you go? And how crazy that she escalated things so quickly. Some abusers, they are a little slower. They're a little bit more careful and less reckless. People like Laura, there's no consensus on what she is, who she is, or what's wrong with her, why this is happening yet. She can't contain herself. I think she's blinded by her want for a man so badly that she is just intoxicated by controlling the situation. And that's where you see she, as the situation continues to spin out of control, as more of these findings come out, as more of this truth comes out, she panics more and more. That's why we had that crazy ass Facebook video that she publicly posted to her public Facebook. So I don't want to hear anything. A public figure posted that to their public Facebook. You're seeing when she loses control, that's when she starts acting out and she wants to make someone pay in retribution. Can you please simply help me figure out these issues? At least you said you would be part of the child's life if I'm pregnant and pay child support, which makes me feel better not taking it. Thank you. He says, no, I would file a police report for harassment and we'll get a protection order. These messages alone would be enough to enact one. There has not been a response to either offer, so in 2 hours they will be inactive. But again, I have texts trying to transfer you over to my brokerage and you declined, so you have no case against me for the AAR. I did my due diligence. And I looked into the rules for what a father has to provide, and at the minimum, he would have to pay child support, but have no involvement other than financial, which is exactly what I would do. Be completely absent. You would get a check in the mail and that's it. You'd never see me and I would never help other than financially. But again, you are not pregnant because I did not pre-cum, so this is all hypothetical. Look at that right there. No pre-cum either. So that must not even been a very good blowy. I'm wondering how long did it last, because obviously he's saying I didn't even do the pre-shit. Talk about completion, I didn't even go there. Girl, if there's anything, that's your drool. Oh my god. Oh my fucking god. And I feel bad for Clayton to have this, like, a little bit of his dirty laundry, like, out in the fucking open like this. Like, How embarrassing. I would be so upset if, like, I had any type of, like, public, whatever, if I was the Bachelorette or whatever, and then did this shit, and then I had to get all these texts published. We talk about fucking pre-cum and shit. Oh my god, I'm dying. So this is all hypothetical. Yep. It's funny because you're trying to get me to believe I pre-came. I can't believe I read that fucking sentence. I can feel it when it happens, and I know without a doubt that it didn't. So again, one more thing you're just making up. Bam. I didn't know that you didn't withdraw my offer, she replies. You said I would have to resign or resubmit, which I didn't want to do because then I wouldn't be taken seriously. I wanted to keep them active since we signed a contract. I emailed you this afternoon to get an update. No response. I just emailed your agency prior to your response to ask the status. Please keep me posted on it and tell me how I can make a counter offer. I have also checked into it with an attorney, so if you want to challenge me on it being an AAR violation, go ahead. It is. How much money is Laura Owens funneling into the local lawyer scene in the Scottsdale area? That's my motherfucking question. She calls up a lawyer for everything. If you step on the back of her shoe at a store, she's calling a fucking lawyer on you. If you look at her sideways, she's calling a lawyer on you for harassment. She said, like, everything is an affront to her. Everything is an attack. And she will make you pay if you do not make her feel like a princess. Fuck, dude. Like, I have never seen someone have so little heart or empathy for people. Because even if you don't like someone, they still have bills to pay. They got family they love. They got their own shit going on. They got their own lives, their own sadness, their own heartbreak, their own anxiety, their own grief, their own excitement. I don't ever want to fuck with people. Like, why don't you ever stay in your own lane? Why are you all in everyone else's lane trying to cause misery? Is it because you're miserable on the inside? I think it might be. And guess what? You can't make your misery other people's problems. You gotta look within. Gotta look within. This is sick. And what's so bizarre is that all of this is before we even have a pregnancy test. Days before. She is setting this up and having this hypothetical it's just, wow. That's pretty awful about what you said you would do as a 30-year-old man to an innocent child, especially since I know your reputation is important to you. Mine is too, and I would be a great mom. If your reputation is so important to you, Laura, come clean and end it all. End all of this. The talk, the conversation, the harassment of other people. And all of that. All I have asked you for is kindness as I figure it out tonight. And it was cum of some sort. What? Alien cum? What? Ant cum? Microbe cum? Are you shitting me? I don't know the difference between types of cum. But I know what I felt years ago when I was on the pill and my ex came inside me, and it felt like that to me. I fucking hate this. Oh my god! A 33-year-old woman is sending this to a man 3 years her junior and is trying to make him feel like he's acting like a child. Wow. I know what I felt in and around my vagina, which would be the ultimate landing spot for... What do you mean, ultimate landing spot? Ultimate landing spot? Fucking baby girl, when they were talking about landing strips, that's not what they meant. That's not what they meant. Oh my god, the ultimate landing spot? Oh my god. The ultimate landing spot. Oh my god. Oh, I need to breathe. Oh my god. And like, also she's texting this a dude that she met once. She met him once. And this is 5 days after she gave him a blowjob, and she's texting this shit. Oh my fuck. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. The secondhand embarrassment. I usually don't get secondhand embarrassment, but I got it hard. Don't try to portray me as some nut job just because it makes you feel better. Don't try to portray yourself as some kind of not nut job just because it makes you feel better. I understand that we are both fired up because this is a highly emotional topic, but this doesn't need to be a nasty fight. We can talk civilly about this. And here she just has the screenshots and she quotes them in her Medium article, her first one. From here on out, it's basically all Laura. I would not do it unless you filed something against me, but if anyone had right to file for an order of protection / had reason to worry, it would be me. You are being nothing but cruel. You are saying that if I said I made this all up, fine, but if I said I actually was worried about being pregnant, you would block me. And then you're telling me you would be this horrible father to try to convince me to not take plan B. All while you're still technically my realtor for another 45 minutes, and I doubt you'd even tell me if my offer was accepted. I watched about half an hour of clips today from The Bachelor for the first time. I didn't know that you had such a cold side until today and was truly stunned at what I saw and experienced firsthand. You can turn this around and be nice. If you saw my message, I said I likely have until tomorrow if you want to sleep on it. I'm not taking it unless it is for good reason and don't even have it to trade tonight. I don't know what that means. Does that sound reasonable? No, Laura, none of this sounds fucking reasonable because you're acting like this with someone who is your realtor and is only your realtor for another 45 minutes apparently. You're talking all kind of crazy to him way before. Like, I don't even think the potential zygote would have implanted into your fucking uterine walls at this point yet. And you're acting like this. It's shameful. And can you also tell me what happened with my offers? I see that and blank is sale pending at 425k. Couldn't that be our offer? It looks like it's cut off here, but the next one says, I'll wait until 9:30 to be sure because I don't want to email them if it makes you look bad. But the EMD lender is on me now to let him know if he needs to send money. I want to close on these houses if I got them and need to know how to do that if you're not willing to help. I emailed your agency a few hours ago and have not gotten a response. So that was all on May 25th, baby. The next one is Friday, May 26th. She is messaging him before the 7 o'clock hour in the morning. This is a screenshot of her reaching out to someone that she made an offer and the person responding saying, I didn't receive an offer from you. And she says, can you please explain what he's talking about? You never sent in the offer? Clayton, if you can't answer me on, please connect me with your broker to ask him what happened and what the status is. And she messages him at about 4 p.m. it looks like. So we have some time pass. You might want to check your email regarding what I was told about Saturday night. Told you I wasn't crazy. No, I have not taken Plan B. Not responding won't change whether or not I'm pregnant, and there are more public avenues to alert you to it if I am, which I don't want to use. She's saying this, oh my god, 5 days before her alleged pregnancy test. She's already fucking threatening him. And she doesn't even know if she's pregnant. And she just saw a little bit of cum down there because her previous partner came in her vagina twice. So she knows what it feels like. Oh my, like, dude, I'm just like sick. I would rather deal with it just between us. Regarding the properties, I don't even know what to say, honestly. I feel like this whole week has been a nonstop panic attack. You are so damn talented and smart with real estate. So it crushes me to see that you self-sabotaged here when you could have done 1.124 million in deals this week. She's trying to play with mommy and daddy's money. Remember, she's trying to act like she doesn't have a lot of money. Okay, girl, stop. I've had everything ready to go, and you dropped the ball. I don't want to see this happen to someone else. I'm going to report you to the AAR and your company unless you give me an explanation as to why you, A, didn't submit your offer on blank after you claimed you did, B, didn't tell me that you had spoken to the realtor on blank about being a backup, C, left me in the lurch about whether or not you had withdrawn my offers or were representing me in the first place, and D, refused to respond to my request for your broker's info so I could get on top of it these days. I made offers based on your input, and now I don't know what to do. I think I will pull out if I am going to be repped by the seller's agent and need to make a decision right now. This is all just too much. The last thing I want to do is make you look bad and report you as a realtor. Here's another threat. But I would be a bad human not to try to help others who want their dream home in case you decide to sabotage them as well. Here she is making herself the victim, but also putting herself on a pedestal. You try to work against me. Ooh, there's the slight. You tried to work against me. I know you are going through a tough time, and I will listen if you want to explain why you acted as you did, because despite your personal issues with me, I was owed duties from my realtor that you were not provided. If you choose to ignore me, that's fine, but know that I will be taking action. And so then she is messaging him again a little bit over an hour later. As a courtesy, I just sent you what I am going to send your boss. If I don't hear from you by 6, a threat again, because I need to figure out how to proceed from here. I can't get myself to send it right now. I'm just extremely upset and disappointed right now, and for some bizarre reason, I still believe in you despite how you have acted. She's telling him, if you play your cards right, I will give you another chance. Never mind, I'm sending it. I need help with properties, and you said your broker is the best. You have been so cold and left me in the lurch. With the way you are acting, I would never consider getting an abortion if I'm pregnant because you can't even treat me or listen to me like I'm a human being. Being kind and understanding would have gone a long way. Thursday, June 1st at 3:46 p.m. Please check your email. About an hour later, I am pregnant. I went to the doctor today and I've explained everything in the email that confirms it's yours. How does that confirm it's yours? As you can see, I wasn't 2 days ago, but I was today. And then she has photos. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Please let me know what you are thinking in the comments below. This is just blowing my mind. Just unreal. Do you agree? Do you have additional thoughts? I would love to hear it.